Can the government decide which information is true and which is false? That was the question that marked the confrontation between journalist Azucena Uresti and Morena Congresswoman Vianney Garcia during the debate on the new telecommunications law reform. Uresti warned that the initiative could become a censorship mechanism, and in this video, we'll tell you why. Claudia Sheinbaum's government proposed a series of reforms to the telecommunications law to regulate audience rights. Among the proposed changes is the obligation for media outlets to clearly distinguish between news and opinions, to have audience advocates, and to establish sanctions for spreading information considered false. In that context, during a panel discussion on Radio Formula, journalist Susana Uresti questioned the proposal during an exchange with Morena Congresswoman Vianney Garcia. The host brought up in the discussion the case of the governor on leave, Ruben Rocha Moya, the allegations of alleged links to crime, and the murder of Hector Melesio Cuen. Uresti argued that these are documented facts, but the government insists on labeling them as false. In response, the legislator assured that the initiative only requires this type of information to be backed by evidence, to which Uresti replied that such evidence does exist and argued that sometimes it is the authorities themselves who spread false information. As an example, she recalled the video presented by the prosecutor's office about the homicide of Melesio Cuen, which was later disproved by federal authorities when they confirmed that he did not die during a robbery at a gas station.
The governor of Sinaloa has ties to organized crime. Hector Melesio Cuen was killed. Organized crime intervened in the elections. These are facts. But Morena says it's a lie. If the government calls it a lie, what happens to the information?
The government says evidence will be presented, which is very different from claiming it's true.
There's evidence. It's the video of a more protected Mexican. There's a video of Chavoya, of Melesio Cuen, where they tried to say it was a robbery, but in reality, he wasn't killed in that robbery. It's a lot.
Later on, Vianney Garcia stated that the government has identified media outlets that, in order to increase their audience and earn more revenue, resort to lies, staged stories, and manipulated content. As an example, she mentioned Carlos Darete Mola, the case of the girl Paulette, and even the chupacabras phenomenon. In response, she asked Azucena to also mention cases of misinformation or fabricated stories spread by media outlets aligned with the fourth transformation. And with that, she suggested that there is a different treatment toward media critical of the government compared to those close to the administration.
In the media, we have seen how, in order to generate more audience, they lie and deliberately create a series of fabrications. And there are many examples of this in the media. This goes against people's rights.
The Paulette case, the chupacabra story from the 90s. So many lies have been told.
Not just some of the media outlets close to them.
Media outlets that tell lies.
As you noted, many from other outlets.
A lie that you have pointed out?
No, I think you understand, right? Of course.
Because we've lived it our whole lives?
From media aligned with the fourth transformation.
I don't have it with me now because there's some doubt.
Because it exists?
No, you say it.
On the other hand, Vianney Garcia stated that if the media reports truthfully and without ideological bias, they have nothing to worry about with the new law. However, Uresti recalled that the government itself called her a liar after she published a report about the poor conditions in IMSS hospitals. The journalist explained that even though she supported her investigation with documents, testimonies, and videos, the official accusation ended up affecting her credibility with part of the audience.
If you're not telling lies, if you're not sharing information with an ideological bias, then there shouldn't be any reason. Why worry?
I mean, they told me that what I said about ISTE was a lie. They said the place was flooded, that the beds and the medicines were all there, and they called me a liar. And then, well, I showed the information that proved it wasn't true. I mean, I had the information here, the photos, and that's it. So then, no.
There shouldn't be any danger of censorship. Or did they take away your show, or did you stop participating?
Azucena.
But it erodes credibility.
Aside from her criticism on Radio Formula, Uresti brought up the topic again in a column published in Voz MX, where she once again questioned the fourth transformation. The journalist stated that the government showed its true colors, as she believes this reform exposes the administration's exasperation. Faced with the critical press, which asks, where are the corrupt officials, the narco governors? And what about the promised improvements in health, education, and the economy?
This government has shown its true colors. Are they tired of the critical press? They ask, where is the money? Where are the narco governors? And when will they be punished? Where are the corrupt people they promised to put in jail? The substantial improvements in so many things in this country, in education, in health.
On that premise, she argued that the initiative represents an act of censorship. She explained that she is concerned that the government intends to regulate the work of the media, and at the same time decide what information citizens should consume. What do you think? Do you trust that the government can regulate the media without affecting critical voices? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and enable notifications.